Alright guys, so today I am going to be doing CHING number 130. So let's just get started where we left off. The first thing that I have is a pair of hair cutting scissors, and they sold for $29.99, and these came from an auction in one of the beauty trays that I had won. A lot of this stuff is a lot of the beauty stuff from that one auction, not the most recent beauty auction, but the one prior to that. The next item was a Philosophy Purity Mask that sold for $19.99. The next item did go to a subscriber named Gail. This was a little snowman dish by a pottery company called Clay Craftsman, and that sold for $15.99, and I'm pretty sure I picked that up at a yard sale. Next item, an It Cosmetics makeup brush that sold for $12.99. Again, beauty auction. I also sold a pair of Birkenstock Havana sandals for $69.99. I'm pretty sure this was the same auction when I was getting the beauty stuff, because I remember in the back there was a bunch of Birkenstock sandals and Eric had won most of those. This next item was also in one of the beauty trays, and I was so surprised by this. This was for a vintage from 1989 by Lady Remington, but it was a nail system, so it had like a filer and stuff like that on it. But lo and behold, it sold for $75. I was not expecting that at all. I have never come across one of these before, you know, in my life until that day, and even still, like, I didn't know what it was worth until I went to list it. It was just on a tray of some of that beauty stuff. Here is another Philosophy Purity Cleanser. This one sold for $42.99. Okay, this was different than the Purity Mask. My apologies. A lot of Philosophy in this, though. And again, here's another pair of Birkenstock sandals. These ones also sold for $69.99, and they were new, like new, very, very clean. Let's see. I sold a puzzle. This was by Victorian Trading Company, and I'm fairly certain this came from an auction, and I feel like I paid maybe $2 for it. It sold for $59.99. I don't buy a whole lot of puzzles to resell, but I tend to at least look them up when I see them if they are either sealed or just the subject matter looks interesting. This was in like a really nice wooden box. The pieces were like a thick wood, just really, really nice quality type of thing, and it had cats on, so I can't say no to cats. Next, I sold a Winnie the Pooh and Tigger, or it was just Tigger, I don't know, scrub top for $12.99. That came from a yard sale, and I paid $1 for it. Next item came from an auction. This was a small pottery vase by Van Briggle that sold for $49.99. And I think I just said that did come from an auction. Same with this next item. It came from the same auction. This was a miniature cabinet vase by John Gilvey. So it was like an art glass piece that sold for $289. So that one was a really, really nice vase. This was a piece that came from the folk art auction. It was a Robert Kaufman rocking horse that sold for $39.99. I also sold a vintage from 1988 Cool Times Ken doll for $19.99. That actually came from an auction. It was in like a box lot of some toys that I had won. Here's another beauty item from the auction. This was for a Philosophy Gingerbread Man hot salt scrub that sold for $29.99. Next item also came from an auction. This was a Joy Mangano bath rug, so brand new, that sold for $29.99. We also sold a Nintendo 64 controller pack memory card for $34.99, again an auction winning. This next item, went to a subscriber named Sandra. This was for a pair of UGG purple furry slides. Those sold for $39.99, and I did get those at a yard sale. Next two items went to the same person, but I don't think that it was a subscriber. This was two more of the Joy Mangano pieces. I had won these at an auction. These again were brand new, still sealed. The first was for a 4-piece set of washcloths that sold for $39.99, and then they also purchased a 9-piece luxury towel set for $61. Here's another folk art piece. This was by Menno, and it was of a chicken that sold for $39.99. Some more beauty items. This was a Philosophy Hope in a Jar. I had a lot of these. I think I sold all of them. But that sold for $29.99. I also sold a vintage dollhouse family, so just like some little dolls, for $22.99. Thinking they came from a yard sale. Next item did come from an auction. This was a Yankee candle in the scent Maple Walnut. So this one is a good scent as far as like reselling Yankee candles. It sold for $69.99. So you guys see why I like picking up candles. I may have a candle hoard, but there's some money in my hoard too. So if I don't get to all of them and a fragrance becomes like discontinued and starts to become worth money, I have no problem taking it out of my hoard and selling it. Here again is another Philosophy Hope in a Jar that sold for $29.99. Next item also came from an auction. This was for a tile, a ceramic tile that was made by someone named Charlie Harper. And their stuff was selling really, really well, especially these tiles. So anytime I see a ceramic tile, if it's signed, I take another look at it, because some tiles can sell, I just got it to change. Some tiles can sell really good. And that sold for $66. Here's another Philosophy item. This was for a Sheer Splendor hair oil, sold for $29.99. Again, beauty auction. This one was probably the best out of this CHING. This was for that Fenton Ruby Red 5-piece Epernay. Eric and I won this at an auction again. So something like this, a lot of people are scared by shipping it. We were scared too. It made it perfectly fine. Eric's packing skills are superb. I told him well. Anyway, that sold for $685, and I think we paid probably $100 something for it. So that was just a great score, and that color is definitely desirable and harder to find. I also sold a Mexican beaded bird for $39.99. That came from the folk art auction. Here's another Philosophy Hope in a Jar. I told you guys I had a lot of them. I won like a whole tray pretty much just full of Philosophy Hope in Jars, and they were all brand new, still sealed. That sold for $29.99. That's what I was selling them for. Next item also came from an auction. This was for like an old German made snow babies. So this is kind of like what the more current snow babies are kind of like modeled after, but they made like real old ones, obviously, like back in the day. So this one was an older one, and that sold for $99.99. I sold a set of pewter snowflake magnets for $12.99. And those came from an auction. I have another Philosophy item. This one was a color corrector palette that sold for $39.99. You guys know I love selling beauty stuff, and it adds up quickly. I mean, they're like consistent kind of like bread and butter sales, but I mean, $30 here, $20 here, $30 here, $20 here. It adds up very, very fast as far as like profit. I also sold, this was a vintage Disney safari hat, and then it had some pins on it. I won this at an auction. It sold for $22. I probably paid $1 to $2 for it. Next item also came from an auction, but it was in like on a tray of some other stuff that I won. It was a vintage from 1995 clown ornament by someone named Alicia Manziti, and that sold for $19.99. As always, we're always selling Monet trinket boxes because we have so many of them. This one was for a Christmas tree shaped trinket box that sold for $54.99. Also sold some scratch and sniff stickers. These ones smelled like honey and cinnamon rolls. Those sold for $49.99. They also came from an auction. They were in a shoebox full of stickers that I had won. I actually just sold a sticker today from those sticker album books we had gone through. And I sold that for like $19.99. So I have been selling some stickers out of those albums as well. I sold an Eldrith Pottery little house-shaped coin bank for $25.99. I'm pretty sure I picked this up at a yard sale, and I'd say I paid $2 for it. I also sold 3 different ornaments. The first one was a Department 56 turtle ornament that sold for $25.99. And then the other 2 were the Catherine Lily White ornaments. The one was a cat wearing a sweater. That sold for $9.99. And then a ghost family ornament also sold for $9.99. Let's see, I sold a blown glass vase for $19.99. This actually came with some other stuff that I won at an auction, so box lot type of item. Also from an auction, I won this Ellie Smith elephant glass powder jar that sold for $39.99. This next item went to a subscriber named Charlotte. It was a painted brass snail that sold for $12.99. Again, I'm pretty sure this was an item that was in a box lot of some stuff I won at an auction. Also sold a Dresden reticulated footed compote for $200. This came from an auction. I'm trying, like, I can't always remember prices, guys, and I apologize for that. Typically, and I know I've said it before, when I do my haul videos and then I share, you know, when stuff gets listed, that's when I'm typically telling you guys the prices of what I'm paying for stuff. And then when it comes to actually once they sell, because some things don't sell right away, like there are times when like I sit on stuff for like months, sometimes a year might go by, and I just can't remember from a year ago or so like what I paid for something. So I apologize. I don't always have prices when it comes to my cha-chings. But I always say too, like, I'm in this business to make money, not lose money. So what I'm selling it for, it is for profit. I made profit on it. Let's see. I sold, this came from a yard sale. I remember this. This was an amber art glass dog-shaped decanter. Got this at a yard sale, and you know, I just kind of like filled a box full of stuff, and I'm sure the lady charged me less than like $20 for my box, and this here sold for $76. I also sold a set of vintage from 1986. These were actually from Roy Rogers. Do Roy Rogers restaurants still exist? I honestly don't know. We don't have any, and we haven't had any, you know, in my town since I was like a little girl, so I have no idea. But these were He-Man erasers. It was a set of those. They came in a box of some stuff I won at an auction. It might have been the same box where that Cool Times Ken came from, because it was like some vintage toys. And I put those on auction and they sold for $28.22. So that was another kind of surprise there. Let's see. I also sold Bob Gouge birds. These came from the folk art auction. The first one was called Cheerful Companion. That sold for $60. And then the other one was called Gentle Beauty. That sold for $54. This item also came from that same auction. I won a tray of some older sunglasses and things like that. This one was for a pair of orange, very mod looking sunglasses, and I threw in the case that they were in. It was like a rainbow case, and they sold for $20.50. And the last thing that I have for this Cha-ching video was just a zip-up jacket by a company called Mondetta. That sold for $12.99. So you guys know I don't sell like a ton of clothes or anything like that. I'm not a big clothing reseller. I did just sell a vintage Pink Floyd shirt for like 400 some dollars the other day. It went overseas. So, you know, I do like to sell clothes, but you know, when I go to yard sales, like, clothes are the last thing I personally want to look at. I get bored very easily looking through clothes, and so does Eric. So that's why we're not like the biggest into reselling clothes, because it just isn't something that really sparks our interest so much. Alright, so at the end of the video, I like to tell you guys how things have been going. Past 31 days, I am actually up for once, 5.8%. I feel like I've been having a lot of just nice, decent priced sales lately, so that's been helping. I don't know if I'm trying to think, what is today? Today is the 23rd. Let's see what that cha-ching was. Hold on a second. Okay, I sold a vintage Nano puppy. So this is my second one that I sold now for $39.99, and that's actually going international as well. I've been having a decent amount of international sales here lately, which is nice. Like that pink glass decanter bottle that I just showed in my last haul video, that actually went overseas as well. So sales have been doing okay. I definitely have noticed the uptick, so hopefully it keeps upticking. You know, that's ideal. So I'm trying to think. Eric and I, we did win a couple pieces from an auction that we picked up today. It was online. So we didn't actually go, and I was just crossing fingers that the stuff we bid on and won was in good condition, because that's the only downfall with doing like buying from an online auction, is not knowing the condition of stuff, because they're not always the best at describing things and stuff like that. But thankfully everything that we won was in really nice condition. Eric had bid and won on an art glass vase, which we're still not entirely sure who it's made by, so we got some research for that. And he won a paperweight, another paperweight, which I know is good, and we won a couple more swung vases. It was a lot of 3 of them. And then I won a lot of just these little ceramic figures, but there was a little angel and devil figure in there, and it is in immaculate condition. He's missing his pitchfork, but I could probably fashion something. He has some flowers in his hand right now, but you know, other than that, he was in perfect condition, and I won the lot for $2, so I can't complain about that. It's just, you know, slowly trying to build that collection. And then Eric went to an auction tonight because he has to work. They're still looking for help there. And so Eric volunteers. I mean, he does get paid since he's going to be there anyway. So he does volunteer to help out, and he just like runs things for them. So, you know, if someone bids and wins on something, he takes it to the person and that type of thing. So just back and forth. You know, otherwise he would just be sitting there anyway. So it gives him something to do, and they give him, you know, he's allowed free drinks while he's working, and, you know, she pays him some money at the end of the day. So that all gets put back. It's not much, but, you know, it gets put back into our little savings account that we have, that's specifically for us to purchase pieces that we want for our collection. So if we go to like an antique market, or, you know, well, we just went for the first time last year. There's an antique store that does like a Christmas open house, and their stuff is so expensive, but they got the best stuff. They got the real old good stuff when it comes to vintage Christmas and vintage Halloween. And we went for the first time last year, and that's where I got my Krampus. Paid a lot of money for him, but he is like the piece de resistance of my Halloween / Christmas collection, because I keep him out for Halloween and Christmas. And this year I'm like bound and determined to buy a really nice old German Santa Claus. So that's why we're saving that money back, so that we can buy like pieces that we want for our own collection. And then obviously, of course, we're trying to save to move. We've been in this house, like I've said before, I live in a townhouse, so like very much don't have a lot of space. We do have a storage unit, which I don't like having a storage unit, but then when my parents passed, there were some things that I just wasn't ready to deal with, type of thing, and I still don't know if I'm ready to like go through it and things like that. But you know, I needed the storage unit for that stuff, and then we just kind of like been adding to it, just like overflow of things and some larger stuff we bought for whenever we do have an antique booth, which, knock on wood, comes soon. So you know, and we're ready to move. Like I said, we've been here for a while. I don't even remember what year we moved in here. I want to say it was 2008 or 2009, somewhere along those lines. But I'm just ready to like move into our forever home. I want like a large yard, and I wanted a large yard for my last dog. She never had a chance to really run around in a yard because we don't have a yard living in a townhouse. Our backyard is on like this really large kind of slope, so we don't really have a backyard at all. I like never go out there. And yeah, it's just not ideal for like a dog to run around or anything like that. So I just like a house where I have a yard for my dog. And you know, I'm just ready to move. I like where we live. I don't have any issues with the neighbors or anything like that. The neighbors are all nice. We all look out for each other and help each other as far as like mowing or snow blowing or anything like that. I cat sit for my neighbor lady. I'm constantly over there. I have keys to her house. I have keys to my neighbor man's mailbox, like for when he goes away and we have to get his mail. And my neighbor lady was sick the other week, so I went to the store and got her some soup and ginger ale. So it's like we all look out for each other, and I do really like my neighbors. But you know, it just comes to a point where you've been somewhere and you're just ready to start a new chapter kind of thing, and that's what I'm trying to do. So that's why I gotta keep on selling stuff. So a little bit of ramble. I know some of you like to listen to me ramble, but hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I apologize, it was a little fast. Like I said, Eric is not home currently, and I'm sure Amelia is. I can tell you exactly where she's at right now and what she is doing. She is going to be out in the hallway, laying at the top of the steps, looking down, doing her sulky Sue look, wondering where her daddy is, and wondering why mommy's in here talking to herself, and why she isn't up in her beddy in the computer room. That's exactly, I know exactly what is going through her head right now. When I'm like editing my videos and stuff like that in my computer room, she has a bed in there, and I did it with my last dog too. Sit the bed on top of the computer desk right where the window is, and open the window so there's like nice fresh air breeze coming through, and then you know they would just look out and pretty much fall asleep. So she'll just fall asleep up there, and that's what my other dog did. They are so similar sometimes, it's just uncanny. And it's even crazy, like she even kind of like resembles her in a way. And like obviously they were both Shih Tzu, so they share that, you know, personality type of trait that I assuming all Shih Tzus kind of like act the same as far as personality goes, but maybe not. But it's just uncanny how like they are. It's insane. But yeah, she's doing really good, and I know that's what she's wanting. So I'm gonna get off of here so I can go edit this video and she can go lay in her beddy up by the window. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know what you thought down in the comments, how things are going for you. Have you been noticing an uptick in sales? I know school just started, I think yesterday or today, around here anyway. So, you know, Christmas will be here before you know it, right? So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you next time.